focusing on the South Italy has really helped us to dive a little deeper into categories that otherwise sometimes you see on lists. Maybe there's one or two, but this is like, oh, I want to try wine from Mount Etna. And for when we first opened, I had 3, and now can have 100 plus,
Which, I mean, says a lot about how many people have also gotten into the Etna game, right?
Yes.
Like, I mean, that's part of it.
It's incredible.
It is. Yeah.
Who would have known?
Yeah.
Ciao, y'all. I'm Jessica Dupuy, guest host for a special TexSom series covering the 2024 TexSom Wine Conference from Dallas, Texas. Join me in the heart of the Lone Star State as we delve into the experiences and insights of key speakers and attendees, exploring career paths, challenges, and the latest trends in the wine industry. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and rate our show wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, Shelley Lindgren, I'm so grateful to have you on the show. Thank you for taking some time to sit down with me in the middle of TexSom.
This is awesome. I'm so happy. It's great to see everyone and be around professionals. It's very inspiring to remind ourselves how we got into this industry, what we're doing, and where things are going.
It's so funny because everyone I've talked to so far has said something similar to the extent of, it's just like a homecoming. It feels like we're having a reunion and reminding ourselves of why we do what we do. Yeah. Well, I wonder if you could kind of give us a little bit of background on who you are. You're definitely no stranger to the Italian wine world. Give us your bio, like where you're from and how you're involved in the wine industry.
Okay. So my name is Shelley Lindgren, and I am from the San Francisco Bay Area, born and raised. I worked originally in French fine dining, and that was in the 90s. So we've had A16 restaurant opened in 2004.
Okay.
And we ended up focusing on the South of Italy, which really was just starting to come alive in its future, what we see today in terms of regionality and the grapes that are making these incredible quality of wines, because there's just so much talent and there's just so many grapes and things. So I really spent, well over 2 decades just going to Italy, tasting, pairing wines with food. And now we just had our 3rd book called Italian Wine.
Okay.
And we launched it last year at TexSom, was our very first event.
I was one of your first purchasers.
No, thank you. I think we are, always learning and evolving, but there is some ways where Italian wine can be simplified for the consumers, especially in terms of selecting and what's available. And there's just so much to choose from, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah. Well, so I want to touch back on the book in just a second, but let's just make sure that we're clear. Like A16 is your restaurant, right? Like
yes.
Obviously you have business partners, but like this is something that you have been a part of from the very beginning, and it's kind of your baby. But there's been some expansion or some extra things that have come off. Tell me about your kind of more recent projects.
Yeah.
So and this is San Francisco area.
San Francisco area.
Okay.
No, especially we're working on a couple new things this year. Especially during COVID, we didn't have to go, for example, at A16. And now we have a takeout counter in our San Francisco Ferry Building.
Yeah.
And we started as a pop-up of Italian holiday basket shops. And then we started actually growing, working on a project that was Italian grapes in California. And that was a COVID project with some friends of mine. We're all women, all organic, single vineyard. And we just opened a place in Napa. It's a small, quaint place called Apero. So with our wines from Tansy and our friend Samantha, who's from Napa, and she started an aperitivo label called Mom and Pop. Oh. Also organic, and she makes it from different citruses and mixes that she puts together from, just has aperitivos and traditions of Amaro is, but they're very refreshing and light. And then A16 provides a little bit of snacks because you need to have a little bites to go with it.
Of course, with Apero, you have to have a little snack.
You have to.
Yeah, I love it.
So it's something a little different and fun and unique and just friends coming together, really.
Well, and you mentioned a name quickly, but that's Tansy. Tell me what Tansy is.
So Tansy started in 2021 with my friend Kitty and I, and Megan Glab, who makes wines with her husband called at Rhyme, which is Ryan and Megan, also has a focus of Italian grapes in California. So there's a growing trend of Italian grapes being grown in California, which is mostly in a Mediterranean climate like Italy. And so now we have 8 different selections.
Okay, so Tansy, the label has
yeah. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I
So
know,
tell me
it's
some of
just
the grapes
growing
that you
quick.
work with.
Vermentino from Las Brisas has the actual Tansy label on it.
Okay.
And so like Tansy on the flowers, each label has a different flower on
Gotcha.
the label. So Megan also was a sommelier turned winemaker. And so we've been friends just for our sheer love of Italian wine in general. And I think what's really exciting is the future of Italian grapes in California, but also wines that are, not too high in alcohol. They really showcase the terroir, but they taste like the grape we know and love in Italy, even if they're grown in California. And so that's been a real change in Italian grapes being grown in California. I mean, there's people like Marchese Antinori who've been growing Sangiovese and different grapes in California since the late 60s in Napa.
Well, and if you think about pre-Prohibition United States and pre-Prohibition California, most of the grapes that were planted in that area were Italian at the time, right?
There's a lot of old vine Italian still.
Yeah, so it's kind of retro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going back, cycling back through.
Yeah.
I know. And it's also just this idea of that there is so many different microclimates and that we have some different characteristics that maybe aren't in Italy. So those grapes that might love that volcanic soil of Vesuvius or Etna or Volturre will have a different flavor, but they still, there's something similar you can taste and think that this wine is made to represent the grape and not trying to force it to be something it's not.
Right. So I'm kind of like putting all of this together because I want it to be clear to the people that are listening that you're a restaurant owner, you've been a floor sommelier in your career, you're making wine, and you are a book author of 3 books, right? Along with Kate Leahy, and
yes,
I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah,
I'm always worried about her.
She worked in the kitchen at A16
Yeah.
when we opened, and then she's written dozens of cookbooks since.
Yeah.
And A16 was her first book, our last book. So we've been friends and going to Italy together for
a long time,
a really long time.
And I have to say, so I have A16, the book, and I was talking with a mutual friend of ours, Craig Collins, a while ago, and he was saying, like when I go to Italy, I don't just want to get like a wine book to tell me about the grapes and the wines. He's like, the first thing I do if I'm going to go to Southern Italy is look at Shelley Lindgren's book about about what foods I'm supposed to eat and everything else. So I love that you've got this culinary / wine foundation that you've been able to share with people in a lot of different ways.
That's the whole fun. I mean, people have shared it with us. We've experienced certain things that really like makes sense to how we approach food and, certain things that should go together or not. I feel really fortunate to be able to focus on the part of the world that, I love so much.
Yeah. So aside from A16, what was the second book?
For 12 years, I had started and owned a restaurant called SPQR.
Mm-hmm.
And then in late 2019, I divested. It was sort of time. And so just been focusing on A16. And we've been working on some new projects with A16. Yeah. We just opened in the Oakland airport too, which was kind of an ongoing project as well. But SPQR, it was really fun. It was a tiny, only 15-seat restaurant that had Michelin star for like 7 out of the 12. I was there. And it still exists today. I'm just not involved anymore. But the wine list had the Roman roads because it was so small that SPQR Food and Wine followed the Roman roads
based
too.
on that. Yeah.
So both the wine and the food went regionally according to the roads. And that really just helped us to, instead of putting 20 regions in the book, we just said, okay, via Salaria, via Appia, or, and then we could follow the regions that went through those roads.
Love it. Yeah, I love that. It's just a different way to kind of think about Italy and gives you more context for the history, et cetera. So we're in Dallas. We're sitting at the TexSom Wine Conference. And tell me a little bit about your history with TexSom. This is where we met years ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering if you could kind of share like what TexSom has been for you in terms of your career and your community, like how you've been a part. You've spoken on many different things.
I know. Yeah. I always try to make sure that there is time to come. In some years we do an event in San Francisco that sometimes competes, but there's very few I've missed actually. Mm-hmm. And so I always feel inspired. I ran into friends in sommeliers and wine professionals that actually live in San Francisco that I run into here.
Yeah.
Because we all work in our fields and we don't always get a chance to see each other.
Yeah. It's like you're seeing, I totally know what you mean, where it's like people I haven't seen in my city. Yeah, exactly. Where I'm like, I haven't seen you since, the last TexSom, but we literally live a few miles from each other.
Yeah. And it's a great community we have. And actually it's like so much support, but also being able to share knowledge and touching onto important areas about how our community is evolving and what kind of outreach is needed. And because in hospitality, we're always putting energy and everything out. And then sometimes just days like this remind us, are we doing the right things? Like, did we change? Or I'm like, how do I share this with our team and also be a part of it? I really love it.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I was speaking with Vincent Morrow earlier about who's at Press Napa. So he runs the wine program there, which is all focused on primarily Napa Valley wines, but then also some little offshoots based on that, but definitely part of the Napa story. And that's great. He's a master sommelier, which means
fantastic.
Yeah, he's
such a pro.
He is such a pro. But as a master sommelier, he's had to study the world of wine and be tested on the world of wine. But his job is all about Napa and that part of California. So, I was asking him kind of how that feels. And of course, he's young and the sky's the limit on where he can go. But he said, things like TexSom keep you fresh in the things that you're not saturated in every day, right? Like I just sat in on an Australian wine classics class, or, there's going to be a really great sparkling wine class with Francis Percival and Peter Leem. So not only are you able to kind of see people that you love and know from across the country and across the world, but you do get to stay fresh. It helps you stay fresh. He reminded me of that's kind of like,
we spend so much time studying to get into these places we are as professionals. And then when you're there, you don't always have the time to carve out and study, and because we're in it so much. But so it is a nice refresh, and like time flies by.
I know.
Just like how have I been coming here for this long? Or like I was like, we had our 20-year anniversary this year at with A16. So
congratulations!
Yeah, it's a big year.
That's a big deal. So you were a speaker this year. You were on a panel. There were a couple people.
Yeah.
What was the topic and kind of what are the things that you guys went over?
Yeah. So we have a couple panels this year. This morning's panel was basically about speaking with consumers and how to not do it was called like info dumping on them, where it's like, when is it too much information? And it was interesting really because we're coming from different parts of the country, but also there was a retail perspective and there was a restaurant perspective.
So Christy Frank of Kopake,
Nadine Brown
in San Francisco. Christy's in New York, and then you.
Yeah, and then Sam from from Justice Robinson was moderating.
Okay, wonderful.
And she was amazing. She was so fun, and it was really helpful. But it was fun to discuss because there's things that we go through every day, and we talk within what we do, but just a reminder about why we're here and the guest experiences and how do we, approach different styles of service and sharing
and keep a subject that's otherwise intimidating to a lot of people approachable. Like, how do you make sure you're not just, getting the deer in the headlights look from your guest by giving them too much.
No.
Yeah. And sitting in that, obviously you're speaking as the expert, but do you feel like you learned something?
Completely. And I think that, but it's also reminders of things that we know, but we like for instance, you could have some of our coworkers, we worked together for 20 years and some are newer, and you can't just be like, they should just know.
Yeah.
You need to realize that like everybody's learning and help them build their confidence. And there's more and more people around that have knowledge about Italian wines. And so it should be, a good conversation of finding a wine that they like.
Right.
And that they will enjoy and how to get them there.
Right.
Quickly.
Right.
Like not with, all the right intentions. And so. Yeah.
So with A16, I mean, especially celebrating 20 years, do you feel like that's been an integral part of training your staff, like giving them opportunity for education? Like, do y'all have tastings at the restaurant? Like, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, our wines are constantly changing on the list. We have wine and beer, but we serve about 40 wines by the glass, hot bottle, carafe, and, and bottle. And then we have bottles of wine, but those are constantly changing because that's about half of our wine sales. And so, like, for instance, if it's Fiano di Avellino, which is a very important category for us in, south of Italy, Neapolitan pizza, style restaurant that has, lots of appetizers and things too. But we have like a short list of Fiano d'Avellino that we want to pour by the glass, mainly because we want customers who have never had a Fiano d'Avellino to try certain styles so that they understand really like benchmarks for these grapes.
Right.
And that, of course we have lots of others by the bottle, but, focusing on the South Italy has really helped us to dive a little deeper into categories that otherwise sometimes you see on lists, maybe there's one or two, but this is like, oh, I want to try wine from Mount Etna. And for when we first opened, I had 3, and now we can have 100 plus,
Which says a lot about how many people have also gotten into the Etna game, right?
Yes.
Like, that's part of it.
It's incredible.
It is. Yeah.
Who would have known?
Yeah. But I think I remember you telling me too that, when you opened A16, there wasn't a lot of availability of a lot of these wines. And it was your chance to kind of try to get, push the door open and get them to at least, customers in San Francisco. And that's changed, right? Over the past couple of decades.
I feel like when you see across the country or internationally, when you see whites of Italy, you'll find plenty of Southern Italian options from Campania or Sicily or Sardinia is more like an island, but in lots of different areas. So I think the world of understanding Italian wine has grown a ton.
Yeah. Do you feel like now instead of trying to say yes to more, you're having to say no to more because of the availability of what's out there? I mean, you can't put every Southern Italian wine on your list.
I feel like the importing and sales channels have also shifted dramatically.
How so?
So there's a couple importers that are just them, but even their wines have changed. Who imports them?
Okay.
Who doesn't? Or like the bigger companies, some of their names changed and some of their reps change, and it's really difficult. And I'm looking for them.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me. It's probably pretty hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So my final question is, let's get back to the Italian wine book. So I know that was your third book to come out, but it's different because your first 2 were cookbooks, obviously wine being a big component of them, but this flipped the switch a little bit and it's completely about the wines of Italy. So kind of what made you and Kate want to do this and how is it different? What were you able to kind of tackle?
So the first book we did the South Italy, so half of the regions, and the next book we did the other half. And then 10 Speed at the time, there really hadn't been an Italian wine book for a long time.
Yeah.
So they actually approached us and said, will you do it? And we said, yes. And it took us a while to get that going, but we were supposed to have it done. We were a few years behind the deadline, but then things just slowed down with COVID and it gave us more time. I mean, you only have so many words you can put in a book, but we wanted it to be a reference book as well as kind of give you an introduction into Italy, Italian wines, the history, the culture, the soil, the grapes, not in an encyclopedic way, but more of a regional overview. And it's funny because this year for IACP finalists, that's the category we're in, is reference.
Yeah.
And I was in technical. And so that made us so happy because Italy is sort of like that. I remember some of the first books I started reading about Italian wine were like the Touring Club of Italy and things. And they really took you on a journey to different parts. And because there's wine made in every region of Italy,
for sure,
you really want to give every region a voice and like kind of want to identify it as, the place it is and, what they've gone through in their histories and what grows there, what they eat. We put a little section on like classic dishes of each region. And, it's just a fun way to live and be.
Yeah,
so exactly.
Yeah.
Big project, but.
All right. So people can find that on like Amazon or Okay. Great. Yeah. Or any of the books actually. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me for a little while and talking about all things that are going on in your life. I'm really excited for the projects you have upcoming and I hope you'll join us again sometime.
I would love to. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Listen to the Italian Wine Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and more. Don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. If you enjoy listening, please consider donating through ItalianWinePodcast.com. Any amount helps cover equipment, production, and publication costs. Until next time, cin cin.